Today, I have two 2026 Ram 2500s. This has the Cummins, this has the HEMI. And the goal was to get these trucks as close as possible for the options and features. That way, when you see the payload at the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding. Now, this truck didn't have fifth wheel prep package. This is the gasser, and then the diesel did. And it's kind of hard to find a diesel without that option. So again, that will affect the payload a little bit. I borrowed these trucks from Ken Garff, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in West Valley, Utah. They are available for sale. Be sure to ask for Ezra or Josh. Let's go ahead and check out the window stickers really quickly. I want to show you guys the pricing because that's a big benefit for the HEMI. Now this is going to be the base price for both trucks, $64,210, and this is the HEMI equipped truck. So night edition, Living Level 2 Plus, and then 410 rear are all the options you guys see there. Total price is $74,340. Okay, now the warranty is 5 years 60, 3 year 36. For the diesel, the options on this truck is going to be the fifth wheel, and then this one does have a sunroof too. So apart from that, because it has a diesel, $12,595. That's just something you have to consider. Now I am going to give you the price difference without the fifth wheel prep package and the sunroof, just so you guys have more of an apples to apples. But yeah, oh yeah, and this one has the diamond black paint, which is $245. But yeah, the night edition, $29.95, and then Lamborghini Level 2 Plus is right there. And this one has all other mats as well. So with destination, total price of this truck is $88,710. Now if these trucks were apples to apples, the Cummins is going to cost you $12,150 more. Now you might be wondering, well, hold on. The only difference between the trucks would be the diesel. Well, if I were buying the HEMI, personally, I would get the 410. So I did not deduct that from this white truck. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you want max tow, that's what you have to get with the gas engine, because this basically is max tow for the Ram 2500 trucks. Now, with that being said, where do we begin this conversation? I like to show the payload capacity, but what we're going to do first, I want to show you guys the door sticker, because that is obviously something that's very, very important for the axles, because it does change slightly between these two trucks. So the front gross axle rating on the diesel is 6,000 pounds. The rear is 6,040 pounds. Remember, this is a diesel, and the gross vehicle weight rating is 11,040 pounds, which is why I'm doing this video over here. So for the gas truck, you're going to see a lower rating for the front axle. Okay, that number is going to be 5,500 pounds. All right. However, the rear is actually higher at 6,390 pounds, 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. As I mentioned, I will show you guys the payload here at the end of this video so you guys have a better understanding. But ironically, when you are looking at buying this gas truck, you do have a better rating in the rear. And that is something that's very, very important, simply because if you do plan on towing a fifth wheel or gooseneck trailer, they tend to have heavier pin weights. So I'm not sure why Ram did not just increase that axle rating for these trucks now that they have the higher gross vehicle rating. But that will limit what you can actually tow. And don't get it twisted, you can get pretty darn close on the axle rating on this truck should you tow a fifth wheel. How far in the weeds do you guys want to go in this video? I personally don't want to go too far into the weeds because it's going to get political real fast, and some of you guys don't want to hear that. So I'll just make one statement now, and then we will pretty much not go any further. If you're looking to buy a diesel engine, know this today. It's very political. They do not want you to buy diesels. And I can prove to you why right now. One thing I've noticed about the diesel standards in America is very, very strict. If you were to remove any emission control equipment, you potentially can go to prison. It's a federal offense. Now, gas engines have emissions too, and people have been caught taken off catalytic converters and all other things like EGR and things like that. But I've never heard of anyone going to jail for that, for a gas engine. However, I have heard of people on the diesel side, but it doesn't just stop there. Remember this, the diesel standards in America are absolutely trash. And depending on where you live at, it's even worse. Like California, blue state, Washington, blue state, Illinois, blue state, Oregon, blue state. All these states have biodiesel, and that's like all you can get. Now, California does have like a high performance renewable, which is good stuff. I will say high performance renewable is known to be good stuff, but it's not a statewide mandate. So you're probably going to be filling up with biodiesel. Whether it's 20, B20 or B5, I've been telling people this, avoid that crap at all costs, because it is not good for your diesel engine, especially if you're someone who doesn't drive your truck often. So if your truck sits for more than a month, you want to get biodiesel out of the tank, because it can cause problems, because it does have a shelf life. Now, I'm pretty sure someone in the comment section might think, well, doesn't gasoline go bad too? And I will say, yes, it does. It takes a lot longer for it to go bad, but on top of that, you can just put a stabilizer in the fuel tank and that will help stabilize the fuel. Can't do that with diesel fuels, okay? Now, here's something you have to understand too. Biodiesel fuel has its own set of standards. In other words, they don't follow the same standards as diesel number 1 and diesel number 2 and gasoline. Different standards. So again, take it or leave it. And the main reason why biodiesel is bad is because of the oxidation. This fuel gets old a lot faster, and therefore it creates acids. Those acids will wreak havoc on your fuel system, and you have to think about fuel dilution. What happens when that fuel gets into the engine oil? And over time, what happens to the internals? What does acid do to metals? Anyone in the comment section want to take a stab at it? Let's move on now, because I'm sure I'd trigger somebody. No matter how bad the diesel fuel is in the States, the HEMI is not perfect by any means, right? This engine also has emissions equipment, and we're not talking about catalytic converters, because every gas engine has that, but this engine is the only one in the HD segment, correct me if I'm wrong, that has EGR. Yes, this HD has EGR, and I'm not sure why Ram chose to add this system. See, some people will say that EGR is good, not just for the environment, but for the engine and for fuel economy. I mean, I can probably compare that to me saying, hey, wifey, I'm thinking about getting 38-inch tall tires. It's going to help my fuel economy. I'm lying. I'm 100% lying. There's no way in heck 38s are going to help with fuel economy. And there's no way that this system is going to possibly be good for this engine. Not long term. So, yes, EGR is there, but Ram is still using MDS. See right there? MDS. This engine still has it. So, unfortunately, this is the only HD truck that has those two options. If you don't know what MDS is, it's multi-displacement system or cylinder deactivation. You can disable the cylinder deactivation, and I'm pretty sure in the future someone might come up with a kit to even remove EGR, right? There's possibly that available on earlier models of these trucks. Someone can chime in on the comment section, but I'm not really sure off the top of my head. Now, this engine does have less horsepower for this refresh truck. So it's going to have 405 horsepower and 429 pound-feet of torque. I think the main reason why it did go down is because in the past, the HEMI required 89 octane or higher, and now they went down to 87. So you lose a little bit of horsepower with that lower octane. The Cummins, however, has 430 horsepower, so 25 more, and a ton more torque. It's going to have 1,075 pound-feet of torque. So if you're planning on towing, if you're going up steep grades, that's where this engine really does come to life. And I think that's why a lot of people choose to have the diesel. And we don't have to talk about the exhaust brake, because that's an even bigger benefit to have. And that's probably the main reason why I like to have a diesel engine, especially while towing. Now, let's talk about towing capacity for a second. I looked this up online before I started this video. Most people would say that the diesel option is going to have better towing capacity, and that would be true in a lot of cases if you're looking at a 1 ton. Now, sometimes with a 3/4 ton, it's very possible that the gas engine can tow more simply because you are limited to your payload capacity. So here's what I have. If you're looking at the gas truck here with a 410 rear. I don't know what happened, but my audio cut out on my video. But what I was saying was, if you're looking at a Ram HEMI with a 410 rear, this is going to be your towing capacity for that truck. So 17,130 pounds. The gross combined weight rating is to be 24,250 pounds. Now, if you're looking at a HEMI with a 373, 10,000 pound GVWR, that truck's going to have a 14,930 pound towing capacity, and it does reduce that gross combined just a little bit to 22,050 pounds. So for the Cummins, they only have the 342, so just keep that in mind. 11,040 pounds. It's going to be this one right here. It's 19,890 pounds and 28,110 pound gross combined weight rating. So them raising this number really does increase the potential that you have of towing a fifth wheel, simply because you now have more payload capacity. Now, it does have an asterisk next to it, and it says it applies to vehicles with sales code this. Now, the last thing worth noting is this: if you do want air suspension on your Ram truck, whether it be 3/4 ton or 1 ton, you cannot get air suspension with the HEMI, okay? So the HEMI is not available with air suspension. Now, I want to say in the past you could get air suspension, but for whatever reason, Ram decided that wasn't important. For 2025 plus Ram HDs in the 3/4 ton segment, you guys saw that they did raise that gross vehicle weight rating. Because of that, these trucks do have a lot more payload, basically 1,040 pounds more had they had the 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. So you guys see right there, 2,887 pounds of payload. So this truck could, I don't want to say safely tow, I would say it has the potential to tow a 32-foot fifth wheel. Figure if the pin weight's around 1,400 pounds, you plan on using a Gen Y pin box, no fifth wheel hitches, you only probably plan on husband, wife, maybe small kids, you could probably get within the payload capacity of this truck. In the past, it was impossible. It was just really no way to do it because it would have had under 2,000 pounds. And it's rare to find a fifth wheel with less than 1,500 pounds of payload. Now, on this 3/4 ton gasser, they did not change that number. So let's see what the payload capacity is with that 10,000 pound GVWR. So even with a lower number, this truck still has more payload capacity. But remember, we have to remember, fifth wheel prep package and sunroof are missing. So it's very possible that truck probably does have more payload capacity if it was more apples to apples, because the sunroof is probably not going to change much, but fifth wheel prep package is probably about 150 pounds in, you know, that bed, so you're going to lose that on the payload. Now, you guys see the tire pressure, 65 out front, 70 in the rear. Let's see what that diesel is, because I forgot to look. So 65 and 65 on this truck. So that's probably the main reason why this gasser does have a higher gross axle weight rating out back, because they do run the tire pressure slightly different for the Cummins equipped trucks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do more conversations around this. I just kind of touched on a few things in this video. Obviously, if you want your diesel engine to last, you have to do your maintenance and you have to understand how these engines work. They really are built for load. They're supposed to be built going down the highway 60, 70 miles an hour or higher, depending on where you are in the country, for long distances, because that keeps all the emissions crap happy. And the gas engine is really more suited for what most guys use their trucks for. If you're someone that just cruises around town in the city, and you know, sometimes you get on the highway, sometimes you don't. I mean, you do a lot of idling, you're going to pick up your kids from school. This engine is better suited for more people. But like I told you, you still want to do an oil analysis for both engines. You want to make sure that the acid that the B20 and B5 fuels can create does not have a long-term effect on the engine oil, because it does reduce its effectiveness over time. And same thing goes for the gas engine. You want to make sure that you're checking the engine oil over time with this engine, and you might want to go a little bit sooner if you do a lot of idling in the city or a lot of stop and go traffic. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to your channel. Let me know you guys' thoughts down below. As I said, I mean, I still need to do videos like this for the Ford side of the house and Chevy, so I want to try to cover as much as I can in each video and just answer a lot of questions for you guys.